Welcome. Hi, this is Brian with Brian Spain Domain, and we are here looking at Spain's current situation, which is an outbreak of fires, forest fires mostly, which are pretty much affecting most of the country and, or at least many parts. And I thought I would share some of this information to you as it's happening in real time. It's summertime, it's vacation time, it's August. That is the height of summer vacation here in Spain, as it is, I think, in many European countries. And and so that's making this situation a little bit even more complicated in some cases because there are just people all over the country. Plus, it's the middle of the month; it's almost the 15th. This weekend is a long weekend, and it's pretty much the height of summer vacation. So a lot of movement, a lot of events are going on, a lot of fiestas. And so this is something that is uh, taking the country, I wouldn't say by surprise, because in summertime, that's sort of forest fires are sort of, at least traditionally, a part of summertime in Spain. You have better summers, worse summers, but it is a dry country. And it's, for example, in Madrid, it hasn't really rained here for a couple of months, and that's not unusual. It's warm here. You can even see some sweat. I don't have the air conditioning on, and so it's warm, very hot. It's been a very hot summer, as it's been in many parts of the world. Especially June was quite warm, and then July was not too bad, but it started to cook up again. And in the last week or so, I think there have been something like 37 different fires here. I'm going to try to share something with you if I can. I'm going to see if I can show you here. I'm going to show you a map of where we are. See what we're talking about. Okay, this is a map of Spain, highways, and it gives you an idea of what is going on with the fires. Okay, if you look at it here, um, you see all these sort of pink things here. Well, that is where these forest fires are taking place currently. They are updated depending on where, some have been updated about an hour ago, others long time ago, others about 4 hours ago. But anyway, so there are fires all over the place. One that affected us more recently was let me get here, we'll key in on this one here. This one called incendio or fire in Tres Cantos. Tres Cantos is a town that's just north of Madrid. You can locate me now. You can see where I am, but you can see here. Okay, it's sort of a bedroom community just north of Madrid. In fact, we were just driving by there 5 days ago, and it's you take it up on the way up to the mountains. And there was a forest fire last night, and that was surprising. You don't really get forest fires that close to Madrid. A few homes, as far as I know, I think three, four homes have been affected. But the worst news was that a man has died because of this fire. He was recovered from his home, but I think with 98% of his body covered in burns. And when that's the situation, normally people do not survive, and he has passed away, unfortunately. And then they'll have fires in different parts. Here, for example, there's a fire that's near the town of Aranjuez, or that's what they say. But maybe that I haven't heard any more about that one. And that was pretty close to the town of Aranjuez. Aranjuez is a town To the south, it's part of the region of Madrid, and it's famous for its royal palace. It was a very popular royal palace. If we get rid of some of this, there it is, the royal palace. We've seen it from above. There it is, the royal. Okay, and the gardens, which are famous. Okay, and so this is also part of it, and a pretty town to visit. Um, I have a friend who lives quite close, or has a house with stables with horses. It wasn't too far from the fire. The thing is, I haven't received any information. I've been looking in the news and I haven't found anything. They're not talking much about it in the news. They're talking more about the Tres Cantos fire, which is north. Okay, and I think part of that also is because someone died, which makes it gets more attention. I'm going to have to look up here for example. Let's see if I can find something. Aranjuez, incendio. I'll just put it this way. See if we get anything coming up here. It says, yeah, serious fire in Las Vegas, but it's not Las Vegas. That's not Las Vegas, Nevada. It's Las Vegas. But that was a couple of days ago. So I guess it's probably under control. Controlado. Okay, yeah, that happened a few days ago. Um, so that one's done, which makes sense because no one's really been talking about it. They've been talking about two other fires, as you can see here. If we zoom out, and you can see where we are here. We are talking about another fire. This one got a lot of attention. This is down in what they say Tarifa. Tarifa is actually right here. This is a very pretty town right at the corner of this, where this is the Strait of Gibraltar, and this is actually belongs to Spain. This is Morocco, and this is a famous town. This has a famous beach that is well, it's famous for its windsurfing because it's just quite windy there. So people who like windsurfing can go there. And but this is actually a little bit further up, so I'm surprised they say Tarifa. This is actually in another place, okay, another town called Zahara de los Atunes, and there are beaches and there are summer homes there. I've been there. I know a lot of people from Madrid who go down here and spend their summers in these towns, all in these beaches here. And this one got a lot of attention yesterday because it started up in this mountain. This is, and there's a sort of a residential area here. These are called urbanizaciones, and this is called the Playa de los Alemanes, the Germans. This is another town, okay, called, it was on a beach called Bologna, and this has got a huge dune, and right here there is a famous Roman ruins. I'll tell you about that at a different time anyway. So this fire started here. I was talking to some friends who had a place down there, and they were down there, and they said that it started up in this hill because it's hilly up here, and it's by the afternoon it started moving down toward this area where there are basically mostly summer homes and apartments for this beach. So by the mid afternoon and late afternoon, people were being ordered to leave, to evacuate, and that's what they did. And they were able to get away. A lot of people were not. The town of Zara's here. This was sort of out of the. It wasn't being affected directly here, and so people were staying in their, sleeping in their cars, sleeping in schools. It was pretty dramatic for a few hours there. I haven't heard anything in a while. I checked the last 4 hours. I think it's under control, same as Tres Cantos. It's under control for the most part. but you never know because it's still really hot in Spain and temperatures are really wicked. The next couple of days, I think they're going to go down. Thank God, it looks like the heat wave is going to break. We've had a heat wave for about 10 days, a pretty long time now, especially at this time of. Oh, wait, I've got something going on here. Let's turn this off. Turn off the TV there. Trying to get some information from the TV, but they weren't being very helpful. Anyway, and so it's been a terrible heat wave going on for about 2 weeks or 10 days, I'd say, and it was a terrible event. It's this time of year, this happens. I mean, you can get this bad heat, and as you get further into the summer, to the late summer, things are so dry because it just hasn't rained that anything can spark a fire, and a fire can spread pretty quickly. As you can see, if you look at this map here, if I get a close in, a little bit further, closer in. Okay, we have a fire here. This is in Portugal. Portugal usually gets hit hard every summer. And this one is Portugal. And then we have what's been getting a lot of news in the last couple of days is up in the northwestern part of Spain. This is the region. This is called Castilla y León, but this province is León. And El Bierzo, it's just a region here. And there have been a lot of fires here, as well as some in Galicia. This is in Orense. This is in the north of Orense, I think. Or maybe is that, yeah. And so there have been a lot of fires in this area. It's very mountainous up here. The population density isn't very high here, but it has affected, especially in this area, especially I believe in this area around Cacabelos and places like that. Okay, this has been a pretty bad fire. Here the population density is a little bit higher. This is an area called El Bierzo, actually famous for its red wine, especially. And there's a lot of villages and towns here. And so a fire would certainly affect the population there. And that seems to be still raging. And that's where we are with our fires in Spain, at least the bad ones as far as I know. But if we look up here, there's another one to the north. This is Riaño. This is also León. It's also quite mountainous up here. Liébana, I know where this is. And here, this it seems to be 6 hours ago. Some people, as you say, a lot of these fires can be intentional. It's hard to say. Then politics gets involved and people start blaming each other, not only for the fires, but for the response. You hear about this in other countries. I don't think there's a country that doesn't get all mixed up with these things. And whenever there's a natural disaster, the blame game starts pretty quickly. Anyway, people, the fire workers, the firefighters are working very hard. Volunteers are working very hard to bring things under control. The weather is going to be very hot today. If I'm looking at what the Spanish weather agency says for today, at least, is really bad. And then I think tomorrow's a little bit better, and Thursday should even be better. So it looks like hopefully if they can make it through this next day or two, things will improve. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I will give you an update pretty soon. Just want to show you, this is the problem what we have in Spain. It's fires, okay, brush fires, forest fires all over the place. right? And one person has died in a forest fire outside of Madrid, just to the north, in the town of Tres Cantos, which is a suburb of Madrid right now. And in fact, we could smell the smoke last night. We were my wife has a better, a keener sense of smell than I do. And she opened up the window and she was like, "Ooh, I can smell smoke." And I don't know if something, and we knew there was nothing on fire in the building or nearby, but we assumed from the news that there must be some fire going on, and that's when we learned about Tres Cantos. So that must have been what was the wind. It was not too far away from Madrid, not from where we are. So maybe, let's say, maybe 30 kilometers, maybe 20 miles. So if you have a serious forest fire going on there, it's very possible for that smoke to reach you. But we're looking at fires in different places and in different parts of the city, of the country. They say approximately 30 to 40 have started in the last week. How many were started by natural causes and how many were started intentionally is, I think, going to be one of the issues they'll be looking at. It does seem like a lot and in a lot of different places at the same time. And that always is a little bit unusual. Okay, so and they're giving me alert, Sierra Segura and Alcaraz. That's in Murcia. Looks like another one there has started up there. That's up in the mountains too. Alcaraz, if that sounds familiar to you because it's the name of the tennis player, well, it shouldn't be too surprising because that's the region where he's from. He's from this region, Murcia. So that would explain that. Anyway, if you look at, as I said, in Spain, if I give you a little geography, well, here's Portugal here. The rainiest part of Spain tends to be this northern part up here, right? And then down here and below, and especially the bottom half of the country, it gets really, really dry in the summer. I mean, so don't, as I said, it hasn't rained in Madrid for a couple of months. That's not unusual. That's not unusual. And so as the weeks go by, and no rain comes, okay, well, that's when these forest fires tend to start and spread pretty quickly. Things are just very dry. It rained a lot this year in the spring, and March was a record-breaking month for rain, for precipitation. And April rained a lot, not as much, but still well over the average. And in May too. So where we usually go up into the mountains of Madrid, things are still pretty green compared to other summers. But it is drying out quickly because no rain has come. So anyway, and that's what's happening. Okay, we will update you a little bit later on once we get some more information. But that's the situation in Spain as we speak. Hope you have enjoyed this live update on Spain on Fire, and we will be back in a little bit. Take care.